All right, this is going to be a pretty quick one, and it's some of you, of course, may recognize the little symbol behind me there. So when I say warrior monks is a go, I mean that we already got a couple of guys that are willing to meet up to train, both in the sort of get the basics of Catholic Catechism, at the same time do some basic training, systema-based sort of martial arts stuff. There is something that I forgot to mention, which from long experience, it took me a long time to learn this, but you know, when I used to teach martial arts, I'd get these phone calls from these guys that are like, oh, you know, I wanted to do Systema, and like I wanted to come and train at your club. I'm like, okay, well, you know where we are. If you got the address, you know, if you got my number, you got the website with it on, you know, just show up. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you if it's okay for me to come training. I'm like, well, yeah, you don't have to call me, man, just show up, you know, just come out. And it took me like a year, more than a year and a half, to sort of understand, why are these people calling me? I was like, you're calling me to tell me that you're coming? Well, just show up, I don't care, you know. And then they'd call me and they'd like try and talk to me about all sorts of weird shit that I'm like, dude, I'm not your dad, you know. I'm just a guy that's teaching martial arts. Come, don't come, whatever, you know. It doesn't change anything. If you're not going to show up, you're obviously not going to train. So, you know. And then it dawned on me, and then I realized why I was getting these calls. Because people are scared. They actually think, oh, I'm going to go to this martial arts class and this guy's just going to beat me up to prove what a hero he is. That's not how it is, right? That's just stupid. Doesn't matter how old you are, you know. I mean, in England, I can't teach kids or whatever just because martial arts has got quite a few restrictions on it. So, you know, you have to be like 18 or over, or at least certainly be with one of your parents who would have to be in the class the whole time. But, you know, if you want to come and check this out, one of the guys has already found various locations where we could train. So it would be a meetup. It would be over a weekend. It would be a couple of hours, probably the first session, and it would just be covering the basics. So, you know, maybe start out with a Hail Mary in Latin or something, a Pater Noster in Latin. Maybe give you out those prayers in Latin so that you sort of know what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe a little handout on how to pray the rosary, that sort of thing. And then the rest, most of it would be basic training of martial arts stuff. You know, I don't know about costs, I don't know about numbers yet, but it is going to happen. So there's been already enough interest, and if you are interested and you are in London, you know, ping me an email and your name will go on the list. And when we eventually decide on a date, hopefully we'll get one session in before the end of this year. Maybe we'll get 2 or 3 sessions, depending again on, you know, how many people respond and so on. The idea is to at least cover the costs of the hall or the place where we're going to train, and obviously that depends on numbers. You know, if we only have like 3-4 people, whatever, it's gonna be a small room, is fine. If we have 50 people, then we need a big hall, you know. And so if you're interested and you're in London, or you can get yourself to London, it'll probably be on a Saturday or a Sunday. I'm guessing probably a Saturday. It would probably be a Saturday. There's not that many Saturdays left before Christmas. And on the 21st, we also have the priest, 21st, 22nd, we also have the priest here doing Mass and delivering a bit of December. That is 21st, 22nd of December. We're going to have my battle priest is going to be in London, and there's going to be answering questions, you know, about the Catechism, about Christianity, about Catholicism, and so on. So any of you who are interested in that sort of thing, let me know. We will get a venue that will probably be somewhere in East London. You know, so probably not that far from, you know, we're going to try and pick something that's close to a station, or underground station, or an overland station, just to make it easy for people to get to. But yeah, so if you're interested, drop me a line, make sure your name's on the list so that we can go out to more people. And like I said, initially all we're looking for is to cover the costs of the hall. so it's not going to be expensive, you know. You can get some places are pretty cheap to hire. Apparently they're only like, you know, 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour or something. So, you know, if there's if we're going to do a couple of hours, call it £100, you know. If there's 5 of us, that's like £20 each. If there's 10 of us, £10 each, something like that. You know, it's not going to be a huge amount of money, and you will get at least a couple of hours out of it. So, you know, it should be good. That was basically it. If you do recognize that little symbol, and you might, because it's of course that, which is an imprint. It's my imprint of you know, books that are gonna be on this sort of nature, like Believe. My friend Dave is gonna be, he said he's gonna eventually do a book on the sort of taking down the 5 solas of Protestantism, and he's gonna publish with this imprint, Warrior Monk. I've got another work that I'm thinking of doing. It's gonna be another, you know, brief, small book, you know, like this. This is like just under 100 pages, and you know, it's pretty. It's an easy read. I mean, it's like, you know, a couple of hours. That's the idea. I'm gonna do another one, I think. I'm still thinking on the topic and working title and whatever, but it should be interesting. It'll be basically a follow-on from this. This is for like the lost sheep. The next one is like why Catholic, sort of thing. So I'm gonna try and knock that one out pretty quick as well, but it'll have to be over the holidays if I get it finished. You know, it's cutting out any time for anything these days is just really difficult. But alright, that's it. That was really the only announcement I want to make, and hopefully there's quite a few that can make it. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, doesn't really matter your age, you know. You don't have to be a super fit 20-year-old that's done MMA for the last 10 years. If you are, great. And you know, if you're an older guy that just doesn't really know what the hell this is all about and is worried that you're going to get punched in the face day one, that's not what's going to happen, right? Day one is going to be basically explaining principles, making you experience some things, and always your training is geared to you, you know. I'm not going to train a guy that's, you know, 28 and has been professionally fighting for a few years the same way I'm going to train a guy who's 55 and has never been in a gym in his life. You know, it's a completely different thing, but each person gets trained for what they can do and what they can't do. And there will be definitely a Catholic catechism emphasis to correct some generic things, you know, and after the training you'll get to ask a couple of questions. That was Systema training anyway. After training you sit around in a circle and you're like, okay, what did you learn? What did you learn? So that everybody gets a chance to share what they think, what they learn, or if they have a question. And it's a very useful thing to do, because you learn from the other people, you know, both whether you're a teacher or a student, doesn't matter. You always learn something if you listen to everybody else in the class as well. Alright, so I hope you'll go for it. That's it. Have a good night, and I will speak to you over the weekend at some point.